President Trump is promising to take his anti-crime fight to more cities around the country. Chicago and New York could be next. Doug Luzader reports from Washington this morning. You know, Doug, interesting, we're calling it, Trump is calling it his anti-crime fight, but you talk to the leaders of some of these cities being talked about, and they don't agree that it's about that.
Well, the high crime cities that the president is focused on now are all led by Democratic mayors, and a number of those leaders, Brooke, are already fighting back. Demonstrators in Washington heckle police and federal agents during a house search. But despite the controversy, President Trump says his federal takeover here, that includes the deployment of National Guard troops, has been a big success, pointing to a significant drop in crime in recent weeks. And he says this model could soon be exported to other cities.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent, and we'll straighten that one out probably next.
The city of Chicago does not need a military occupation.
Over the weekend, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson bristled at the suggestion, and despite his city's high crime rate, he says the numbers have been falling. And Maryland Governor Wes Moore invited the president to visit Baltimore.
The reason that I've asked the president to come and join us is because he seems to enjoy living in this blissful ignorance, these tropes and these 1980 scare tactics.
The president responded to Governor Moore on Truth Social, writing, "As president, I would much prefer that he clean up this crime disaster before I go there for a walk." And as for Chicago, he's promising big changes.
That'll be our next one after this, and it won't even be tough.
But as we've talked about before, the president does not have the kind of expansive authority in a city like Chicago that he does here in Washington, and there will no doubt be some legal fights ahead if this all moves forward. Brooke.
Yeah, obviously we're talking a lot about Chicago right now, talking a little bit about New York, but people here want to know if there's been any talk of Los Angeles, Doug. There's definitely been a bit of a new battle. Now we're battling over MAGA, Gavin Newsom and President Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. The president was asked in a radio interview, what about Memphis? And he said, Memphis would be at the top of the list as well. So I certainly wouldn't rule out L.A. right now. I mean, the president kind of looks at what's happening here in D.C. as a template for other cities.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. One thing the president keeps saying, though, he says that people in these cities are asking for this. And so that's part of the conversation as well. We'll see what happens, Doug. Thank you.